For most of us, putting together a landing page used to either mean you had to hire somebody, a developer, a designer, and then just wait weeks to get your page, or you had to spend your Saturday, if you could even find the time, wrestling with a page builder just to end up with something that looked like everybody else.
But today, you can describe what you want, watch it get built in front of you, and have it live on a real URL before lunch.
And we're going to show you how to build websites, landing pages, and even a small web app or two using Lovable and Replit. 3 things you'll walk away knowing today are:
1, how to prompt Lovable so you get a landing page that actually converts, not just one that looks really pretty.
2, how to spin up a small web app in Replit. It's like the kind of internal tool that you've always wanted to build but didn't know how.
And 3, how to publish your work to a real shareable URL today, not almost ready, but live.
And plus, the mailbag at the end, your questions on what to build first, how to handle a custom domain, and what happens when AI goes off the rails.
This is the Shift AI show presented by AWeber. This is the live show that translates all the noise in AI into something small business owners can actually use today. I am Jesse Kennedy.
And I'm Chris Vasquez.
Okay, today
the new intro every time is fast becoming my favorite part of these live streams, man.
I mean, it's too much fun not to do. We talked about Luma AI a couple episodes ago when we were talking to video tools. Today's VHS inspired intro stinger with like the 90s corporate music for the VHS. I feel like we're about to enter in like a corporate training or something like that. Was built using Luma AI. Soft reminder, check it out for all of your video needs. It's a pretty fun tool. All right, what do you say we dive right in? We're going to start with Lovable today, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to show in Lovable is a pretty simple one. I think I've mentioned probably before, I have a local newsletter, mildly dormant, but let's not talk about that. We're going to restart this thing any day now. And it's about my hometown, Havertown, and just kind of everything happening here. So it usually talks about a couple of news events, a couple of upcoming community events. And the hook that I'm trying to set up now, the offer really is offering people exclusive discounts to businesses in the Havertown area. So like if you sign up as a subscriber, you get X, number of or X dollar value of discounts to local businesses, restaurants, shops, whatever it might be. This is my current landing page. Now, I'll be honest with you. I haven't updated this in some time. It hits some of the mark. If any of you have ever done any of AWeber's trainings on like the 5 core elements of a landing page,
I'm just jumping in really quick. Yeah. I'm looking at the actual feed in YouTube, and it looks like it's vertical video aligned. I'm not sure if you're seeing that as well.
I'm not, and my preview of it is not. So I would say if that's a lot of people, we should figure that out. But
ignore me.
Check the device that you're on, because we are streaming both vertical and horizontal, and it's detecting your device. So maybe double check your orientation or device that you're using.
Cool.
I know that the stream that I'm watching on the side here is horizontal. So if you ever checked out any of AWeber's trainings on like the 5 core elements of a good landing page, I missed about 2 of them here. I have not updated this in some time, and I'll let people guess at what those might be. But we're going to make sure when we go to Lovable in a second that we prompt for those things, because just want Lovable to easily design a much more engaging and pretty landing page. I wanted to create one that's going to convert better. And I wanted to create one that's going to be easily publishable and live in a short matter of time. So jumping over into Lovable, I
And while you're pulling that up, we have a couple questions from people asking, can you use Claude to do this? Can you use ChatGPT to do this? You can use tools like Claude or ChatGPT to write landing page content for you. We're showing you two separate tools today. One is called Lovable, and then we'll show you one called Replit, which are specifically built to build pages. So in addition to having the AI for creating a page, they also have tools to actually host your page on the internet somewhere, and sometimes even have databases so you could have users and saved information. So this is different, meaningfully different from just using Claude or ChatGPT.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do cover those in the way that you're using. I think what's especially exciting about today's is that they're both these tools, especially Lovable, even more than Replit, but both of them are much more user friendly. So less to connect, and it's funny because I think we've talked about how Claude Design is kind of coming for certain things, but there's certain drawbacks still to Claude Design. It doesn't do image creation super well.
Yeah.
It'll try to through like CSS and HTML, but some of these tools have access to image generation tools and things like that. So, and you'll see that in a moment here. I'm gonna show a little cheat code here. I showed this before, and I like to do this often, but I actually went into Claude first, and I said. I asked it, I'm going to use Lovable to build a landing page for my Havertown News newsletter. The incentive is $100 worth of discounts to local businesses for signing up. Here's the current site. Gave them the URL.
What a deal, Jesse.
Hey, I'm still trying to lock in those business owners, but we're close. I want something more substantive, modern, exciting, vibrant, interactive. Here's the one thing that I was talking about with the AWeber training. Above the hero should include 5 core elements of a good landing page: a clear promise or offer, a CTA that begs to be clicked, the minimum fields necessary, name and email only, a trust element, and it should be a mobile responsive page. And then I asked Claude, please write a comprehensive prompt for me to give to Lovable. You don't have to do that. You can start just with that prompt that I gave Claude and ask Lovable to get started there, and it's pretty solid at it. But I've also I've enjoyed kind of pairing the two at times and really getting a really substantive prompt from Claude, and it just gets me to a finished product faster. But like I said, absolutely unnecessary, but a possible approach. So I'm actually going to use that. I'm going to drop in this prompt that I was given by Claude after my little simple one. And we'll actually, you know what, we'll do both. So I'm going to ask it to build a modern, vibrant, interactive landing page based on everything that I just gave Claude. And it gave me kind of a style guide and very clear direction here. We're going to get that going. While that's going, and we'll come back and check this version because it's gonna get creative in different ways. I think, I think it'll take a different approach despite the fairly specific instructions. I will say one of the things I love about Lovable, I like about Lovable, I promise to never say that again, is it is really creative. It creates very modern, vibrant pages and web apps typically. You can always obviously prompt it further, but I think its bias is towards creativity versus, kind of wireframey basic stuff. And sometimes that just brings out stuff that I wasn't even necessarily thinking of. So while that's running, and we will come back and check on it, I'm actually going to bring you over to what I produced earlier today using that same prompt. And here's the page that it created. Now, this is pretty rad because it does a few things. I didn't ask for imagery. It brought in imagery, and actually, and Chris, you also live in Havertown. Tell me if that's not
Brookline Boulevard.
One picture of actual shops on Brookline Boulevard. Actually,
yeah.
On the left side, you can see the sports bar where I bumped into Chris on his way in to watch the Sixers lose miserably a couple of weeks ago. But I mean, how incredible is that? So again, this is one of those things where Claude Design, as we've demoed, and it has tons of value and use, would have probably created some kind of image asset there, right, Chris? But it wouldn't have had access to create an accurate, restyled, one-off image the way Lovable just accessed a tool and did. It uses a color palette that was suggested. a clear promise in the H1 there, get $100 in local Havertown discounts, plus everything happening in town every week. It's introduced those trust elements that I was missing. The CTA, it says claim my $100 in local deals. It no longer simply states sign up, or I forget what I said on my other one. And then what's really cool is it builds out this entire page. Like, look how great this is. The offer, what's in your $100. It lists out all these restaurants that you're going to get, coffee shops,
boutiques,
clothing boutique, a gift shop, the deli that's renowned in the area. And you're going to get, it shows you the places that you're going to be getting discounts to. So like, hey, if I'm not already incentivized that I'm going to get $100 in local Havertown discounts, now it's thought. I didn't really give it specific direction to like build out additional content and show this stuff. In that, even though I got that better prompt, it still wasn't in there. And it just thought to say, okay, I did ask for a high converting landing page, and it referenced what it knew about what good landing pages had.
So I'm curious. This is an awesome page, but I'm curious about some of the other default behaviors. Like, what does that form do? Does it actually submit to your list? Did it? We had a couple people ask for you to share the prompt that you used to generate this page, which is really cool. And I'm going to use this as a pitch to say, we didn't do it last time, but I promise you, afterwards today, I will do this. If you go to aweber.com/shift and sign up for the newsletter on that page, I will send a newsletter or an email today with the fun and interesting prompts that we use if you want to try them for yourself.
Yeah, and maybe as a PS on that one, because we did drop the ball on that, we'll send that that deliverable that we promised last episode of the criteria that Chris uses in his prompt. So yeah, we will share that. It's too long to paste into a chat bubble. But again, I do want to remind, when you see that prompt, I just want you to remember, like, what I prompted Claude for to get that expansive prompt was 2 paragraphs, 4 sentences. So this was not like some large lift. I don't want that to become like the impression of like, oh, now I've got to write this prompt. I had Claude write the prompt for Lovable. Complete cheat code, but really effective. So it built out like where I'm going to get stuff. It talked about what you get every week, top news, upcoming events, the weather outlook, new openings and picks. It's not making this stuff up. This is what is in the newsletters. When I gave it the site of past newsletters, it was able to identify what is included in each issue. It gives a preview. So again, a good landing, Chris, you've talked about this before in a lot that you've built. Like, if I don't win their attention here, but they haven't bounced, they haven't left, it means they're interested, but they're not convinced.
Yes.
Right? So that next section, what else do they need to know? Okay, let's unpack the $100. If that's not enough, okay, here's what's going to happen every week in your inbox in this newsletter. If that's not enough, all right, take a look at the last issue. It's right here. You know, it's this idea of, as they scroll, okay, they're still interested. They haven't left, but they have not been motivated to action yet. I think one thing I would ask it to change right away is like add a sticky form to the header as I scroll. Cause like the one thing that I would hate for them to do is hit that moment of, all right, I want to do it. And they got to go find the form again.
Yeah. Jesse, did you give it an image of you? I'm sorry, I missed this.
I actually, so that was one iteration I did. I gave it did a hand-drawn image of what it thought I looked like. I was not as handsome as the result, so I thought I'd be more honest. I did a little inception here. I gave it my AI generated headshot, and it created an AI generated illustrated version of my AI generated headshot.
Nice.
Say that 4 times fast. I dare you. But just incredible. I mean, we're talking, I spent 20 minutes on this max, and that's with a few iterations. Now, here's what's really cool about this too. If I'm ready to go with this, I'm not going to publish live here because I haven't locked in the $100 discounts, and I do not want to misrepresent the newsletter yet. But I'm telling you, this is going to be live in a few days. It's like 2-click publishing with Lovable. I think what's really neat is you click publish up here in the corner. Let me see if I can get it to zoom more of this box. Oh, too far. And now we've lost everything. Can you see that all right?
Yeah.
When I click the publish button, it's going to ask me the URL. Now, by default, it will give you a Lovable URL. So Havertown, it came up with Havertown loveletter.lovable.app. I mean, it's not far off. It really is a love letter to Havertown. I can edit that. I can click to edit and change what that subdomain of the lovable.app URL would be if I just want to use that. But I can also very simply click to add a custom domain. And what that's going to do is it's going to ask me if I want to buy a new one, or if I already have one, I can connect one. Now I have one. It's havertown.news. So I enter that and click continue. I'm going to have it at the root domain and click connect. And what it's going to do is it's going to take a look at that, and it's going to identify using a third-party tool where that's registered. And assuming it's one of a long list. And you know what? This was happening this morning. There's something, it's either Entry, the third-party tool, or it's Lovable, or it's Squarespace where it's registered, but something's not connecting. Of course, this is what happens when we do things live. But essentially, it will identify where you have that registered, and you'll click authorize. It will jump you into your domain register, where all you have to click is, yep, allow Lovable to do that. And it bumps you back, and it updates the DNS record, which is what points the site now at havertown.news. Done. Live.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about any of those values. You don't have to know any of your DNS records. You just hit the button. That is awesome.
They have manual steps in case you need that. But it's absolutely unnecessary. And then you can also choose, like, is this going to be public? Is this only available to people in my workspace for now? Maybe if it's, a project that's in review or something like that, or you can invite specific people. Yeah. And then or you can also
tool or something too. That could be another way that you use that with your team alone.
And you can update your meta info. So how it's going to show up in search results, or when it's shared on social or something like that. So the title and your little favicon or icon, the description, it comes up with, like, I didn't write this. It comes up with what it thinks is best, but you can modify it before you go. You can generate a social preview image, or you can upload your own if you have one. I found mixed results with the generating the social image. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's like totally out of whack and off kilter. That'd be fine. I'd go with that. That's not a big deal. And then it gives you a preview of how it's going to show up in, like, Google search results. Again, that is it. You click publish, and about 10 seconds later, your site is live.
It's almost too easy. What are they up to over there?
I know. But I just want to reiterate this before we move off of Lovable. Like, there's so many use cases too. Like, okay, so I showed, like, a newsletter landing page. The way we came into this topic was the other day on one of the episodes. People were talking about, like, how to build landing pages with other builders. So that's one example, but it's limitless. Really, Lovable and Replit, that we're going to talk about in a minute, they can do a lot more than just landing pages. You can build full sites, which I have done. You can build web apps. So one of the things that I thought was really cool is I built a web app for a fitness tool. Now, my thinking is, if I'm a fitness instructor, or a personal trainer, or an online fitness coach, and I want to provide my clients a proprietary branded app that they have access to, where I can keep track of their progress and they can track their progress, and we can interact, and I can send them daily motivation in there and things like that, you can do that. I built this out, and it's AI based. So it asks what to call me. I'm Jesse. I want to build muscle. My current weight is, everybody look away, we're going to call it 180. Your target weight is, I'm right where I want to be, 180. This is believable, right? Moderately active, and I have a home gym. And I love cardio and lifting. And I want to work out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And 45 minutes a day. No limitations. And now it's going to ask them to create an account. And hey, let's just do
And that was something that you built, right? Like you wanted that to be a lead magnet into create an account, right?
Correct. You want them
Yeah.
to like get far enough in, and this was built kind of a little bit more in mind of like a public audience, but you could build this without like that whole questionnaire could be inside the app, and you provide the location to your clients, and they create their plan within there with you, or you create the plan for them as their fitness instructor. Again, this is just one of those examples. Like these tools, this was built in about an hour. These tools, you don't have to rely on expensive external resources or white labeled third party expensive tools for your clients. You can build exactly what you need that's tailored to fit exactly the way that you coach your clients. You could be a coach of any sort and have like a resource app that's specific to what they need. You can be a content creator and create your own course platform and stop paying for other course platforms to provide your content. So again, just, I think it's fairly limitless. And my biggest plea, if you're interested in Lovable, would be like, go in and just start trying to create stuff. None of it has to be published. None of it has to be publicly available. I think you'll be pretty surprised about what you can create. And I think what I enjoy the most about it is just how end to end, from like initial prompt to a published app or page, is really pain-free.
Yeah. And that, I think that's a really good point too, Jesse, because like basically everything that Jesse and I have learned about working with AI tools and this whole new world of, how to build stuff just came from experimentation, from opening a tool up, opening Claude Code or Lovable or Replit or whatever, and just trying things, seeing what worked and what didn't. And we've said this on every episode till now. We're going to say it again. And working under this assumption that if you don't get back exactly what you want after your first ask, that doesn't mean you should give up. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It means that you have to give it more context, tell a better story to the tool that you're working with so it can better understand your goals, what you like and what you don't like. Because I remember Jesse was playing with Lovable early on, like it must have been almost a year ago, and was just sharing really interesting stuff that he was just playing with, and was learning about the interface and how to talk to a thing that builds websites for you. And then we just go back and forth now. Like that got me interested. So then I started playing with Lovable, and then we learn different things because we think differently and we try different things, and we just get better together. So we got two questions that I think are important from Miss J. The first question is, so you could start the landing page as usual in AWeber, make the graphics in Lovable, and post to the URL that AWeber gives you. I'm confused as AWeber landing pages build in sections. I'd have to build several images in Lovable and paste where required, or paste where required. That's the question. Lovable is an alternative to building landing pages in AWeber. And I just to be frank, we're working on a tool that is a similar to give you that same sort of conversational landing page editing, and it's going to be awesome. We have a couple of minutes at the end. I want to show you the sign up form version of that. That is a small look into what that's going to be, but really does tell the picture of what's coming.
Yeah.
But if you want this conversational type experience, you would use Lovable exclusively to build and host the landing page, and just ask it to create a AWeber sign-up form for your list. We actually have a tutorial in our knowledge base about doing that. I know Amanda from our team is watching. If you could grab that article to, how to create a sign-up form in Lovable, that links back to your AWeber, and just post it in the channel, I'd really appreciate it. But this touches on another thing. If you ever find that the images that you're not getting in Lovable are what you want, it's a great opportunity to kind of piece things together. Because Jesse and I have been really big boosters of ChatGPT Images 2.0, and it creates great images. So if you're ever not getting the image that you really want from Lovable or any other tool, you can always go to a different tool that does a good job, like ChatGPT right now, create the image, and then bring it into the other tool that you're using. But to loop back around, Miss J, Lovable, Replit, if you're going to use them to build a landing page, it's as an alternative to AWeber's landing page builder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mark also asked, say you're building a sales page, do you know if Lovable is able to interface with a merchant account platform like Thrivecart, for example?
I'm going to say I'll bet yes. I don't know about Thrivecart specifically, but Lovable does have a native integration with Shopify that lets it tie into your Shopify store and make changes to your Shopify theme directly. So one of the cool things about Lovable and Replit is you can hook them up to like a Shopify theme or a Shopify account, and it can modify your themes, or to a GitHub account. If you're more technical and you deploy your site from GitHub, you can have it connect and commit directly to your GitHub. Thrivecart, I'm not sure of, but you know what? I did just work through this morning, and I don't know where it ended up, so I'm probably not going to demo it. Replit in particular is really good at building integrations on the fly. Mm-hmm. So I had it building a AWeber dashboard for me to show like my Would You Rather newsletter performance, and it, as part of that, just built an integration with AWeber. Now, I had to set up the custom integration on AWeber Labs, but if you ever really want to build an interface or a website that connects directly to another tool, these Lovable and Replit in particular, are getting particularly good at integrating on the fly. It's really cool and something to play around with, you know?
Yeah. And I realized I never answered your original question. The form is connected to my AWeber form.
Oh, cool.
It actually pulled the ID from the existing page that it was replacing, which had the AWeber form, and made sure that was connected. To answer Mark's question directly, I asked Lovable in the chat, and it said Thrivecart is not available as a Lovable connector, and there's no official MCP server for it either. However, it did offer to set up either webhooks or connect an API key. So I do think it's a good time to transition to Replit, because I think it's a little bit better at some of that more development and like backend stuff. But even Lovable will propose a way to get that done for you and try to find a solution, even if it doesn't have that direct integration.
Yep.
So you ready to jump into Replit?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay. So Replit is, it's very similar to Lovable in that it's a conversational builder. It's got this little conversation thing on the side. And you might think, well, they're basically the same thing, so what does it matter? I'll use whatever's cheaper. And I think for many people, that's actually probably the right way to think about it. But I just want to talk about the difference between Replit and Lovable a little bit. And most of it is user interface, because they do a lot of the same things behind the scenes. You can just tell that they're focused on different audiences, so the things that they highlight in their interface are different. Mm-hmm. So Lovable, for example, their mission seems to be to make building websites and web apps accessible to anyone. So their interface...
Yeah, not to stop you. I mean, as an example, my son built a web app who's 10 years old for trading sports cards with his friends, where it's like invite only, and they can upload their cards. AI scans the card and like identifies who it is and what year it is and stuff like that. My 10-year-old son built that with Lovable.
And he's charging for it, I'm sure.
Yeah, he should be. College is only getting more expensive. Although skip it if he's building web apps at 10. But I mean, he is not a technical person. He's out playing sports constantly, not like gaming and doing that kind of stuff. He was able to build this web app. That's who Lovable is like. That's the, it's like the USA Today writing for like a 3rd grade level or whatever it is.
Yep. But Replit, they seem to be, and when you look at their marketing materials, they say that they are trying to do the same thing for everyone, but a lot of their communication is geared towards people who have some understanding of technology and are looking for an interface to make building things easier. And so some of the stuff that you see in their interface directly are more immediately helpful to people who have some understanding of building with AI and agents and things like that. For example, you have the ability to create background tasks and run multiple tasks in parallel. So you might want to, if you have an app that has user information and you need to set up database actions or something, you might set up a background task. or you can schedule actions as well. So you could, I don't know if you can schedule in Lovable, but you could say on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, add a banner promoting this specific offer. You could do stuff like that. But let me show you another thing that I kind of like about Replit, because I'm really interested in understanding how these tools work, is, and Lovable does a version of this, but I like Replit's better, is they really break down important attributes of your conversation with them. So I've asked Replit to build me a tool for generating quick quotes. And we'll walk through this, and then I'm going to go back to the conversation for just a minute. So let's say the business or the industry I'm going to generate a quote for is web design. It's a landing page project with just one page, needs an AWeber sign-up form, and I'm going to get it done in 1 week. And no reference. Actually, we'll base it off my reference site is chrisvasquez.design. I need to make this better. So there we go. It's going to go do an AI analysis of that site and all of the specifics about it that I input, and come back to me with a proposal that I could pass along to a customer or a prospect. But in this sidebar, you can jump in here and look at some of its thinking. And here, to the point of custom integrations, I'll jump over to what it created in just a second. It had to make calls to the Anthropic API to do the analysis. So it needed an API key. And the really cool thing about this is it's not going to ask me to put it in chat. It's not going to ask me to, manually input it myself in some weird thing. It had just popped up a little input that it looks like I can't necessarily see here, but it just popped up an input in the chat for all of secrets, which are things that it keeps in an inaccessible part of this web app for me to put in my key. And a really cool thing about this that is probably more useful for more technical folks is I can really easily see all of my secrets and all of my keys that are being referenced by the app. This probably isn't important for a lot of folks, but the neat thing that this really points to is that Replit, and I know Lovable feels this way too, but Replit is more and more concerned about security and creating applications that don't just work, but they can scale with you too. So if you create a web app that ends up getting really popular, with Replit, you can feel at least reasonably confident that they are creating systems that will scale with you as you grow. But let's see, what did it create? Gave me a price range, gives me an itemized breakdown, step by step, estimated timeline. And this is helpful for me as a business owner as well. And some clarifying questions. And I can go through here and I could start over. I could add additional features to this right now, like give me the ability to prompt to refine my estimate. We might not wait for this to get done, but like I'm saying, I might see something in here that I want to change. So I want the ability to refine this without having to start over. And it's just going to go through and add that feature for me. A couple other neat things about this that Lovable has analogs to, but if you start to get really interested in the more technical sides of this, these tools let you dive in and see what your project looks like and how it's built. So in Replit, you open this little sidebar, and then you can actually see your file tree to see what code was written to create the thing that it's built for you. And that's really neat if you do have a technical background, or if you're working with another tool to give you coding advice, you can just copy and paste out the contents of a file and paste contents back in. Another really cool thing about this is there is this file in every project that you create in Replit called the replit.md. It's a markdown file. And in AI tools that you use, you're probably going to see these things a lot. Because what these are is their project-specific direction for the AI model. So you'll see that in here, there are all sorts of rules that Replit is following when it's creating content for you. And I can put in updates to here if I want to give additional guidance to this thing. So if I wanted to build using a specific style, I could put it in there. If I want to build using specific technology, that's what this stack section is. You can go in there, edit it, and give direction to Replit on on how it should build, how the thing should look, what your goals are. So when you're talking to it in the sidebar, it has a better understanding of what your end goal is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's jump back in here. How's it doing? It's working through it.
I haven't used Replit nearly as much. How do you feel like it does? Like, this is like a clean, great, web app to use as a freelancer or a business owner. How do you feel like it does, like, designing like modern websites? If you
I think it's
a full site build.
I think it's good. So I have a critique of all of these designers, including
Sure.
Lovable, to be honest. Like, if you work with AI tools a lot, you can spot a least common denominator AI created website.
Yep.
And different tools create base versions of different things. So I was working with one of our designers at AWeber the other day, and she was working through with an AI design tool some variations of something that she's working on. And
Mm-hmm.
she called out the fact that Claude Design loves this text treatment called an eyebrow, which is like a little tiny text over top of a headline.
Yep.
And by default, it uses it all the time, unless
Yep.
you give it direction to stop using eyebrows everywhere. So I'd say if you're giving it vague prompts, it'll create a good looking website, but it's going to look just like everybody else's Replit or Lovable created website.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I think really helps, regardless of the tool that you're using, is if you take screenshots of other pages that you like, not to copy, but to say, like, hey, these are some of the design styles that I really like. Here are 5 or 10 screenshots of other pages that I really love. That does a fantastic job, in my experience, of identifying patterns, colors, styles, and giving you something that doesn't feel super generic.
Yeah, think of it like I mean, I remember when I was doing a lot of more freelance design, one of the steps early on would be kind of collecting a mood board of like likes and dislikes from a client. Like, if it was brand or if it was a website, like find examples that there are elements that you enjoy or elements that you absolutely detest and don't want to see.
Yeah.
And that would help me guide, like, going from like a giant universe of opportunity or of potential to like a more narrow first approach that I understood was in line with what they wanted. It's the same with any of these design tools.
Yeah, and like, we're both designers by trade in our backgrounds, and one of the things that you learn very early as a designer is there is very little that is completely original in the world. And the best designers, one of the skills that they have is their ability to harness their influences and turn a variety of influences into something interesting. So when you're working with these AI tools, one of the really neat things that you should spend some time on is finding things that you really like, trying to identify why you like them, and then communicating that to the tool that you're using as you're trying to create something new. Okay, so I gave this new feature request to refine the estimate. It created the element, but let's see. What if, let's say that this is for a friend and I want to find a way to make this more cost effective. And let's see what this comes back with. Let's see, hopefully it even works. So it took that prompt, and ideally, fingers crossed, it's rerunning the estimate to get me a more cost-effective estimate. I don't even remember what the price was, so I'm just gonna kind of trust that this worked. All right, cool. But while we're waiting for this, I don't know, you want to jump into the mailbag? I know we have some questions related to these builders.
Yeah, let's do it. We can pop back over when you have that to show. All right, first question. I have 10 things I could use a landing page for: a lead magnet, a wait list, a service page, a quick portfolio, to name a few. Where do I actually start with Lovable or Replit? I don't want to spend 3 hours building the wrong page first. I mean, I think good news is it's not going to take 3 hours to build the first page, first of all.
Yeah.
So even if you're not in the right track, it's not going to be a 3-hour waste of time. But
Yeah,
Chris, how
I
would
would
you
say like
evaluate where to begin?
I would say like what is the one that you have the clearest use case for now, or the clearest need for now?
Yeah, I was
Like
going to say gap. Yeah.
yeah, are people asking to buy your products online? Then build an e-commerce store. If they're asking for information about your services, then build a page that communicates that.
Mhm.
If you have a lead magnet that you know people really want, like if they always ask you for a personalized workout plan, and that's something that you give away as a way to get people into your in-person training,
Mhm.
then maybe build a tool like Jesse demoed building. Yeah, that's what I would say. It's a pretty simple question to this. It's like, what do you actually need? Build that.
Yeah, and not to sound like a broken record, but like I would I would go to, if it were me, I would probably go into Claude and I would say, I want to create these 10 things. Ask me lots of questions and help me prioritize which ones to start with. And it will probably do a fairly decent job of asking some exploratory questions about like what you already have in place, what you don't have in place, who your audience is, what you're. And I bet it'll help you pretty quickly prioritize. And then the other good news is, using these tools, you could probably tackle all 10 in a really focused morning or afternoon or night, um, using a lot of the tools that we've been showing on across all 8 episodes. Yeah, I mean, that's what I would do. Question 2. We have somebody who built a page in Lovable that they actually like. How do they get it on their own domain instead of the Lovable app URL? My customers are going to trust a link that doesn't look like my business. Great point. Absolutely true. And I'll just go back through this. We did cover this, but worth kind of showing again here. If let me pull up Lovable again, just in this, and of course the way the universe works, something seems to be off with like the one click, but you click this publish button in the top right here, and it's going to show you this is that URL that you're talking about, that you're like, well, my customers aren't going to trust a non-custom domain. So you can click to manage your domains. You can connect a new domain, and then you just enter the domain that you have. Or if you need to buy one, you can click to purchase one as well and have it connected. But I would say I'm connecting Havertown News, and it's going to walk you through step by step, identifying who your domain provider is. And then assuming it's one of the many on their third-party providers list, it actually won't take you to this manual step when it's working properly. It'll actually just give you a button to drop over into your domain provider, say, yes, Lovable has permission to update my records. It'll pop you back to Lovable, and it'll say done. And within a few minutes, typically, that change will be live, and you'll be able to go to that custom domain and see your Lovable website, landing page, app, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Um,
So we have one other question that I actually want to show this in Replit, but what do I do when AI builds something that's almost right, but one section is broken or looks wrong? I don't know how to code, so I can't fix it myself. Do I just keep reprompting until it works? So Lovable and Replit they're aware of this problem, that they don't want you feeling like you have to constantly be trying to explain something that you could just point at. And in Replit, they have this mode in Canvas where you can do a couple things. Like I can mark up, like say what I want to change it. Oops. Well, whatever. What I want to change is this headline. I can go like that. And then I can run prompts on this. I can also edit directly in here. Click on this edit and then select this H3. And I can customize the specific pieces of this. And that is both in the content on the page. So I could change it to price, and you can see it updating right there. And I could also do things like change the font size and the font style, because they recognize that that you are sometimes conversation is the best way to edit a page, but sometimes traditional ways to edit are a better way.
Yeah.
So like, let's say these are my changes. I've saved those changes. Bang, I'm going to get out of that. And now if I hit this reimagine button, now that I've marked this up, I can ask it to do just a variety of different things. Oh, I guess the reimagine is specific to the page. Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I hadn't used that before.
Yeah.
Surprise me.
Yeah. Well, let's do that. Surprise me.
Why not? Why not?
Let's see what happens. And you can see here that now it's generated an actual prompt in the queue that it's going to run, which is very cool based on the prompt that I put in Canvas mode. So it made the changes that I asked it to make for that H3 styling, the headline styling, and now it automatically pulled in that next prompt that was queued based on this reimagine view.
Yeah, and I'd say that's pretty similar with both Lovable and Replit. Their click to edit functions, you're not changing it live like a traditional website builder, but it's tracking the changes that you've requested, and then it writes a prompt for you that it then sends for those changes. But it can be a really effective way, because rather than waiting for prompting conversationally one thing at a time, and then, oh, I forgot, I didn't catch that, you can go through and make all the changes that you want with the click to edit, and then it'll submit all of them within a single prompt.
Yeah,
definitely probably more token efficient and certainly more time efficient.
Yeah, and I think this is probably going to take more time than we have to actually do this, but
you know,
another reason
loses some energy when we have to watch the watch the AI work.
But you know what I will do is I'm going to send screenshots of the variations it created, because look, it's saying that it's going to generate 3 variations to explore different ways. Okay, here we go. It has come back with a variety of, or like with an analysis.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to make a proposed or give you options for like directional change.
Yeah.
I know like sometimes with Lovable, if I don't give it a lot of explicit direction and it's kind of like more vague, like make it modern and vibrant and fun, which, you know, like what does that mean?
Yeah.
It'll often come back with like 3 like prototype screenshots and say, which direction do you want me to pursue? And allow you to, which is, it's just so funny as a designer, because it's like, it's literally how I used to work with clients. It was like, I'll give you 3 variations and you tell me which is the right direction, and then we'll refine. And I haven't seen that in Replit or used it enough, but it's great at sometimes proposing directions and giving options.
Yeah, this is very cool. And you can see that it's working on the 3 variations in parallel right now. So if we don't show it on stream, I'll make sure that it's in the newsletter, in the email when we follow up.
Yeah. Real quick, not part of the mailbag, but Robin, our favorite
love it,
Rocky Point, Mexico real estate agent.
I love it.
If any of you remember watching the episode where we talked ChatGPT images 2.0 and just like its insanely superior generation ability, Robin has been one of the first adopters. She was like, I think the same day, Robin, you were sending me an email being like, look what I created, or in the chat I was asking you to share, and you emailed me, and I just love it. She volunteered this and showed what some social content that she's made for Mother's Day. Just so cool. It's so much fun to see some of y'all using this stuff to create content for your audiences. So props. That's pretty rad. All right. So for me, like if there's one takeaway, like there are gaps or maybe pain points or drawbacks to any of the tools that we're ever going to show you. And we certainly want to identify those. And I think, Chris did a better job of that today than me. But that doesn't mean that, they're not worth using. And I think in this case, like, especially I'm thinking if I'm a small business owner or creator and I'm just sitting there going, I'd love to have a new website. It's feeling dated, or it doesn't have this content or this section or this thing that I want. Like, don't let that stop you. You can, in an afternoon, revamp your entire website, revamp all of your campaign specific, offer specific landing pages, build web apps for your clients. I'm thinking of Robin. Here's another example of like a simple web app is like, she could have an interactive map of just her listings. I have a friend who's doing a documentary series, like social content documentary series, and it's on a bunch of different locations in Philadelphia. And he has an interactive map built with Lovable that allows them to click and learn more about each of those locations, then link out to the video content that's related to it. You can do so many things like that. Just I think that it's a giant unlock in terms of feeling like either your web presence isn't there,
Yeah.
or needs a refresh, and can produce that kind of brand fidelity that represents really well. Just like that question in the mailbag of, my customers aren't going to like a non-custom domain that says like lovable.app. Bad content, bad design, broken design can have the same impact in terms of like the reflection on your brand or product or services.
100%, man.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Like, can I just show something that kind of aligns with what we showed in web pages? This is coming very soon in AWeber. But we love how easy this way to build things is. And so we're working on a number of tools. We showed you the email version of this, I think we did last week.
Yep.
Or the week before. But this is a way that's going to be coming to AWeber very, very soon to build web forms that are fun and interesting. And just for the heck of it, I built a web form that is a little game that you could just add to your site, and it would show on your site where you have to collect these coins. And then once you've collected the coins, only then can you get a discount. And the cool thing about this is, like, yeah, I am a slightly more technical person than the normal person or business owner. I've been working in technology for 2 decades, but I'm not an engineer. And just by talking to these apps, you can build things that I know personally I never would have been able to build before, which is so empowering. And it makes me feel like I can do so many of the things that I've always wanted to, always had ideas for, but just couldn't do because I didn't have the time or the energy or the ability to learn some of the required like backend engineering skills and stuff. So it's really cool, and we're so thankful that you're coming along for the ride with us as we're working through these products. And we hope that you'll try out the stuff that we're demoing, and when AWeber's versions of these products release, you jump in and try those out too, because we're trying to take lessons from all of these things that we're using to build the best possible thing for folks who are trying to grow an audience and sell more of what they have to offer.
Awesome. Well, with that, I just want to thank everybody for being here again. This is, as always, been so much fun. As always, 53 minutes has flown by. I really thought we were running short today, but not at all. No, it's so much fun having everybody here. Thank you so much for the engaged chat and the chatter. Thank you so much for the compliment on my hat. I forget who exactly said that, but I'm going to take that home with me. We will be back with you on Friday, as always, at noon Eastern time with a brand new episode. So please, check out come back to the YouTube channel here. Go to aweber.com/shift and sign up for the newsletter that'll be launching shortly, and to receive the content that we talked about, like that prompt. Got to sign up. We're going to wait a few hours to send that out, probably, or maybe we even send it tomorrow morning. I'm not sure, but we want to give some people that were here and maybe not on the list yet time to go and subscribe and make sure that you receive that content. aweber.com/shift. And you can also schedule reminders and stuff there, so you don't miss an episode. Did I miss anything before we go to touch grass and out of here?
No, the only thing is, and I mean, we say this all the time too, if you build something, share with us what you built. Like, we want to know and see what you're doing, and if these live streams are helpful, hopefully you're building some really cool stuff.
Yeah, and if these live streams are helpful, please share with your audience. Like, we want to be able to do this at least twice a week, maybe more, for a long time. And the more you share it, the more we get feedback and insight and make a better show. So please do that. Chris, what are you going to do to touch grass today?
I don't have. Oh, actually, I have a split rail fence that I need to repair, and I just got the rails delivered yesterday. So carried them to the backyard, and now I need to fix that fence.
Do you have to do the posts, or is it just the rails?
I have to do the posts too, but I didn't get the posts yet. So I'm going to fix the rails that I can fix, and then the posts later on.
Posts are the fun part, right?
Yeah.
I had a job after college where using a post hole digger used to do that. I'm not doing manual labor for once as my way to step away from AI and technology, but you may remember this because you had a daughter. AWeber's distributed around the country, but Chris and I, by some miracle of circumstance, live like 4 blocks from each other in the same town. Robin touches sand and ocean. All right, you don't have to
Lucky.
show up. All right, we're all a little jealous. Your daughter went to the same elementary school that my kids are still at. I have a 5th grader and a 1st grader, and today is field day, where they do all the games out on the lawn and like all the red versus white team and all that fun. So I'm going to head over there shortly and catch the afternoon session of it, and hopefully stand out in some sunshine and get some fresh air.
Awesome.
Well, whatever y'all are doing, please get out there, touch grass, then come back and play with all of these tools, then share what you've built, and then share the show with your universe. And we'll be back on Friday to hopefully show some of the stuff that y'all made. Thanks, guys.
Drew is really good at making other people look really good.
Stunning.
And with the help of AWeber's marketing platform, he's built an entire audience on his ability to turn heads. So even though Drew's just a team of one, it never really feels that way.
That's a wrap, folks. Come on out.
Drew uses AWeber. It's how teams of one get more done.
Oh, thanks, Tim. Have sweet. You're the best, Tim.
With AWeber, it's like he has a whole staff helping him grow his audience and build professional-looking content.
And send. You got it. Great job, team.
From automated email campaigns.
Oh, of course, sign up. You got it from here.
To insight-packed reports.
How are we looking on new subscribers? Is that the day we launch the new course? Nice.
AWeber gives Drew the freedom to go forth.
Hey.
And be Drew. AWeber.